Hello, hello, hello. In my travels, I've tasted the flavors of the world, and I've witnessed the power of the plate to bring people together. There's something almost spiritual about the way food unites all of us. I know y'all are getting hungry. So this is the last panel before lunch, and it's sort of a way to set the table. Think of it as an appetizer, and the ingredients are these incredible chefs and a chat about the culinary connections between cultures and community. Let's dive in. Hey, Marcus.
Hey.
First of all, congratulations on the new restaurant in DC.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Amazing. We'd love to see it. So you were adopted from Ethiopia and moved to Sweden, where you developed a love for cooking from your Swedish grandmother. You've shared that your birth mother passed away when you were 3, leaving you without the chance to know her. Yet, you found a connection to her through Ethiopian flavors she likely cooked with. How has food simultaneously helped you connect with your Ethiopian roots while also forging a bond with your adopted home and family in Sweden?
Well, I think that Ethiopia as a place is, if you're not Ethiopian, it's not from the continent, it's highly misunderstood how we eat. We have some of the oldest traditions in the world. Teff is a superfood that is our staple in terms of injera and so on. And also, when you are coming from this deficit, that the world sometimes knows Ethiopia through a narrative of just poverty. And as many countries and cultures from Africa, they get known for one thing and then work generations as Black people from the continent to scrub that off. So that fueled me in terms of how can you change that narrative that we have something that is incredible, that is important, that is delicious. And you realize when you start traveling that Ethiopian food, compared to my other country, is the majority, because people all over the world through Ethiopian immigrants have had great Ethiopian meals. And then you realize that the Swedish side is actually the side that people don't know what it is. So I just came from these two places that both in many ways were highly misunderstood. So now I said, well, that's an opportunity to create a conversation. So how do you create Swediopian food? The world maybe didn't know that they needed Swediopian food, but you do. And it's been proven. But, I think those two things, having memories, growing up on an island with my grandmother and my uncles, and seafood being the thing. Adoption is very complex and layered, but it's almost you walk backwards, because I did not have memories of berbere or injera. That was something that I had to learn as an adult. So you have these two things, juxtaposition. I felt myself, well, as a chef, this is fascinating. I'm teaching myself about something that I should know, but I don't know. And at the same time, I'm learning about techniques. The techniques I studied in Japan, in Switzerland, in France. And, that means that I got yelled at in every language there is in the world. But that was fine to me. That was like music to me, because I got something back, which was tax-free in every place, which was skills. And then it was up to me as a creative to write my own story and write my own food. And that's when I came to America.
I love that. Real quick, I'm going to ask the audience, raise your hand if you've had Ethiopian food.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you've had Swedish food. Point proven. Okay, Mamba. As a Burundian refugee, you've spoken about your early beginnings in the U.S. From your time at Freedom House, the shelter that provided you with community and support, to Detroiters embracing your family with open arms. Since then, you've made a deep imprint on the city's culinary scene. How has food been instrumental in helping establish a sense of belonging for you and others in the U.S.?
So when I came in 2015, I didn't speak English. And the only way you can talk to someone is through food. You don't have to talk about it. I remember doing my first pop-up around the city. That's what few people knew about Burundi. And then that's my only way. And then when I came here, I was leaving behind Burundi as my country that I love so much, but I knew I won't go back there. I have to find another home. And the only home that I have, not by choice, was Detroit. So I have to make it so I can be a Detroiter. It's been 10 years. I'm so thankful for the city and for the community, the family that I found here. I call Detroit home now. But I'll say food is something that has been, at that time we didn't even have a lot of African restaurants. And it's also my way to express my gratitude, also my way to be thankful. Mostly what was important is still important for me was to tell the story. Tell my story, my family story, because few people, as I said, didn't know about Burundi. You'll be surprised, few people didn't even know that there is African refugees. Most of the refugees that people know is the Middle Eastern, so they didn't know that they're black refugees. So telling that story was very, very important. And also understanding about the history of this country. You know, I'm another black person who's coming to live here, so I have to understand that, and the only way was through the food. And then again, I'm so thankful for the platform that I've been having and the opportunity I've been having in Detroit so far.
Yeah, love that. If you're here from out of town, please go eat at his restaurant, Baobab Fair. Amanda, since 2017, you've been hosting your Dinner with Your Muslim Neighbors series, wherein you welcome a group of strangers into your home to teach them about your culture. Through this, you've used food to foster understanding in a continued time of heightened Islamophobia. What are some things that you've learned in the 8 years of hosting this tradition?
So I began hosting out of necessity. There was a Muslim travel ban, and I thought to myself, what does that mean for American-born Muslims? What is the government saying to us? And I looked around at my neighbors, my community, my colleagues, and I'm like, do you guys agree with this? Because if you do, I need to do something. And what do I know how to do? I'm like, I know how to cook. I'm gonna bring people over. I'm a great host. You're gonna have a great time. Creating space for conversation. One of the first dinners I had in 2017, a woman came to our home and said, wow, your home looks so normal. And I said, the camels are tied out back.
Yes.
She was quiet the entire dinner. At dessert, about 2.5 hours later, she said, I have to share that I had a deep fear of Muslims. And I'm here because my pastor recommended I come to this. I would do a lot of outreach to different community centers, religious centers, all of that. And she said, I was so scared of Syrian refugees moving into my neighborhood, and now I see that I have nothing to be afraid of. And she just messaged me a month ago, and her church is actually, and she's helping coordinate a fundraiser for Freedom House. So.
That's incredible. Wow, that's incredible. Mamba, since opening Baobab Fair, you've also started a parallel business, a packaged food line called Soko, which I love. You're working closely with farmers in Burundi to infuse the flavors of your culture into these products. How has reconnecting with the voices from back home shaped the stories you aim to tell through your food and this brand here in Detroit?
So it's been so great. So last year, me and my family, we went back to Burundi for the first time, and the kids never been. So there was the great moment for us to go around, to show them around where we're coming from. And when we started doing coffee business, because we wanted to tell the story, it's easy to tell the story through coffee because everybody knew coffee, but they didn't even know about Burundi. So we went up countries, and we realized that growers was cutting trees of coffee because coffee was not paying them well. And then instead of growing coffee, they were growing maize, corn, because corn you can harvest 3 times a year, and you can consume it, and you can sell more. So they did not any interest about doing coffee anymore. And then I was like, oh yeah, we have to do something. So right away, we have to do something. I made a decision that I didn't even know where it's coming from. I was like, hey, we're gonna work with you. Every coffee that you're gonna grow, don't cut trees anymore. We're gonna buy it and we're gonna import it to US. And we didn't even have any connection. So we're still going through that. So for the first time, these growers have never worked with a Burundian or a black person. So everyone they will see there was white person who was coming to buy coffee. Now I'm going there and negotiating them in Kirundi, and then they feel like, oh, this is valuable. So that connection has been so great. And then this is something that I'm so proud of through Soko, as again, our way to tell the story beyond Detroit was through this product. So this is one that's one project that we're doing in Burundi, but we have another one that we are doing in Honduras. So we're trying to grow hibiscus and passion fruit there. Again, not only to tell the story of Burundi, but if you go to Central and South America, we have a lot of similarities. The culture is so similar. And this is other way of telling the story, not just Mamba and Nadia's story, because I think people are tired of it. And now we can tell other people's story, but that also comes with a big responsibility, because you have to make sure like we tell the story as it should be, or we give people the platform to tell their own story, because I feel like once you have this kind of platform, we kind of forget where we came from. So this is my responsibility to make sure like I keep that going on. Also building the bridge. I think I'm the better person now because of my background, where I came from, where I live now, to build these bridges so these other people can learn about this experience.
I love that. Amanda, you're a Detroit native and a daughter of Lebanese immigrants whose love of cooking began in childhood. You later pursued social work as a career, using food as a creative escape from burnout. Eventually, you returned to the culinary world, competing on MasterChef, and evolving into the chef you are today. How has your approach to cooking been influenced by your diverse background and experiences?
Like many, my first memories in the kitchen with my grandmothers, my Lebanese grandmothers, who learned to cook fried chicken from their neighbors because they were in community and talking to each other. And just hearing that story from my grandmother, I was like, that was inspiring. Reach out. And now chefs, we're always sharing our recipes and learning from one another. So with every dinner that I do, I learn from the chefs that I'm in the kitchen with. I'm learning from the chefs that I'm in community with every day. My career as a social worker helped me learn the skills to facilitate really hard conversations at dinner, and to build that bridge, like you said, through food and really connecting through a shared meal.
Yeah, I love that. Marcus, you're a true global citizen. From your early years in Ethiopia to your upbringing in Sweden to settling down in Harlem, on your PBS show, No Passport Required, you also explore how food shapes cultural communities across different cities in America. How has food served as a vehicle for you to explore different cultures and communities, including your own?
Well, I think food is one of the best ways to hear, to get into a part of the world that you may or may not know. And it's like you're on the big highway where you know the stuff that may be in front of you in your grocery store, let's say Italian, or let's say French, or let's say, so many of our stories are not in those big places. And then it can also tell a very regional story, and it can tell an extremely powerful story around spirituality or around health, which we get to health, but we always get to it through drugs or pills. We get there in a very different way. And large part of the world actually start thinking about it through their food, for example, and we're always on the other side of that. So I think food is, especially in times like this, where you have to find opportunities to break bread with cultures and people that some are like-minded and some are not like-minded, and those are great opportunities. So both of these are excellent examples of how you can bring in somebody to your culture, and then you can go deeper on that. And I remember being here in Detroit, being in Dearborn, and eating what I knew about Lebanese food, which was amazing, but seeing it on a local level, but then going to Iraqi food that I did not know that much about, which is equally incredible, right? So it gives you these, for me, great food is like Wu-Tang. It's like 36 chambers. It gets you through all of these different things, but it's beautiful, you know, and it's not what you expected. And I just think the stories around the people that are in food are also incredible, and it leads to other things. So it's a way for us to express ourselves. It's a way for us, particularly in times like this, right? I mean, for me, and what you hear on the news and what you get through your feeds, I just know that that's not it, right? So you have to create other opportunities of figuring out what is it? And we've always had music, we've always had art. Now we have food that are these spaces that you can have dialogues that couldn't be taken away from you, that there is no law or whatever stupid law they're gonna give us. We're not doing that, right? So these are incredible opportunities to create subcultures and connective system. And I think that's always been America's true secret weapon. Has always been these subcultures that is kicked out to the world, whether it's, again, house music from Detroit, or whether it's the railroad system, or how we communicated through graffiti and art. We've always come up with a new way that inspired others, and I think that's what I take away from a conversation like this. It's delicious, it's our way, it's not linear, and no one can take it.
I love that. Okay, I have a quick bonus question. So we have Uganda, Sweden, Ethiopia, Burundi, and Lebanon. But I have to ask you guys, what is your favorite food country? Marcus?
I love that. Well,
You can only pick one.
thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, in that case, I would probably say United States, because you can get so much of it.
Okay, that feels
right?
like a cheat, but cool. We'll go with it. We'll go with it.
Second, I would probably pick Singapore, because the world meets in Singapore. So that was my 1, 2.
Which is basically the entire world in both answers.
So for me, it's Burundi. I grew up eating rice and beans every day, and I still miss it. I still love it. So nothing can stop that.
Okay.
I have to say Lebanon, and I'm reconnecting with my ancestors in South Lebanon and the recipes that they cooked there. So really hyper-specific regional cuisine that I love and feels like home.
Oh, I love that. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to say Georgia, the country of Georgia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Amazing. Have you been to Tbilisi?
I'm reading this book about Georgian food now, and when I was flying over here, the lady was like, Atlanta, Georgia? I'm like, not quite, a little bit older.
A little further,
Yeah.
a little towards the Caucasus
Yeah.
Mountains. But okay,
And
we
I'm
have to talk about that
on the
later.
wines now from Georgia and all of that. So,
yeah,
yes,
incredible.
nice.
Well, then we got to talk about that. Well, my goodness, what a discussion. I'm definitely ready for some food now. A massive thanks to our amazing panelists who've given me some inspiration for my upcoming book. So I have an upcoming cookbook with National Geographic called Catch Me in the Kitchen. And in it, you will find a recipe from every single country in the world. And some of them might even be from these chefs here with us today. You never know. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much for being here with us.